Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Majid. Very, very broad perspective. Obviously speaks of your experience in both academic world, because I know you're also a visiting professor at one point. So
international relations.
Yes, yes. And thank you for the insight. And I think we'll come back to you. With that, we probably like to ask next question to our next guest. Irfan Bhai, you want to introduce Mr. Memon? I think Mr. Memon has joined.
Sure. Welcome, Mr. Memon. I'm glad that the technology worked finally. So I would like to invite you as our next speaker. But before you start speaking, let me tell our viewers who I'm sure most of them, they know you, but the people who have no information about you, Mr. Memon has been member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha of India. He's a criminal lawyer and also a well-known human rights activist, and he worked a lot for the peace between India and Pakistan. Mr. Memon.
Mr. Memon, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Mr. Memon, unmute yourself, please.
Mr. Memon, you are muted. Could you please unmute yourself if you can hear me?
Yes, I think Adab, Namaskar to everyone, and I apologize for joining you late because of certain technical problems. But I think, this is a very significant discussion in view of what has been happening in both the countries, India and Pakistan, apart from the current COVID menace, where, of course, both the countries are reeling, and particularly India is in an absolute distressing situation. But, when we talk about long-term relationship between India and Pakistan and look back at the history for the past 70 years between Indo-Pak, about Indo-Pak relationship, one thing which I wanted to stress in today's discussion, and I would want all my friends who have joined here to ponder over it, that a substantial Muslim population has survived in India, has prospered in India, has contributed in India for its development during the past 7 decades. But one issue of Kashmir, as I was hearing the previous speaker just now, is the bone of contention. And we find that every time Kashmir becomes a hurdle for improvement in relationship between these two countries, by and large, till last 5-6 years after Modi rule began, our observation was that people of both India and also Pakistan were all very intensely longing to have a better relationship, so that we could exchange our ideas, our literature, our art, our trade, commerce, everything. Because after all, Pakistan is nothing but a part of India. If you go back prior to 1947, thereafter Pakistan fell into two parts and Bangladesh is formed. Now Bangladesh is out of this political contentious dispute between India and Pakistan. But as far as Pakistan and India concerned, it is apprehended, it is believed in India that Pakistan is fomenting or rather promoting terror acts and exporting it to India. A number of instances that have happened where in some cases it is also found that there was some Pakistani involved in some act of terror which has angered Indian administration very justifiably. And throughout the world also, a wrong impression goes if terror is resorted to for the purposes of resolving whether it is a Kashmir issue or anything else. But what we would believe is that keep Kashmir as said, it is the people of Kashmir whose will is to prevail. It is not Pakistan's will or India's will. It is the people's will that must prevail. Well, it's a sound argument, but then leave it to the people of Kashmir themselves. Why should there be an interference from Pakistan? The Indian government gets, annoyed or angered because it is believed that uh, the prompting is going on from Pakistan. Let Pakistan leave people of Kashmir fight for their right, and let people of Kashmir win or lose. But the common belief, and there is sufficient evidence that it is Pakistan which is instigating or promoting certain anti-India ideas within Kashmir. This must stop.
Mr. Memon,
This must
Mr.
stop.
Memon,
Yes,
if I may interrupt you,
please.
we have Mr. Narain. He got a question for you, and I think this question is very much related to the statement that you're making. So I would like to invite Narain uh, to ask his question, that question that he got for you.
Thanks, Irfan. Good evening and good morning, everybody. My name is Naren Singh, and I'm General Secretary of Ibaadatkhana. Memon Saab, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. So I totally agree that both the people of India and Pakistan, they really want peace. And I think together we can do so much, and we can help each other economically. We can have a great relationship and could be helping each other in the pandemic like we are going through. So I think it's a given. We all want peace. So my question is, what are the bold decisions you and Indian political leaders are going to make to give peace a chance? If this initiative is serious, what we are really going to do? Because in past, a lot of such initiatives have fizzled out, even for many reasons. So that's thing. And also, I want to kind of understand your perspective with so many assembly elections which are lined up or currently going on. Is it is it possible to make a sincere political move at this point of time?
Yes. Hello. See. Hello.
हाँ बोलिए मेनन साहब.
Now see, let me also, I just wanted to say a very important thing is about that more than 200 million people, Muslims are dwelling in India. And during this Modi rule in particular, some propaganda is going on, which is gathering, more and more of publicity, is that the partition way back in 1947 was on religious ground. Jinnah or Gandhi or whoever, they were all thinking that, well, Muslims should go away to Pakistan. And we know what happened. What history tells us is that a huge number of Muslims chose, or rather preferred, a secular India to Islamic country next door. And they have lived in India. They have been faithful to India for past 70 years. They have contributed a great deal in progress in India. Yet they are still believed to be anti-Indian, basically by virtue of being Muslims, and they should have been in Pakistan. Even we have heard several speakers from hardcore Hindu organizations that, well, India is not your place. Why are you here? You should have gone to Pakistan, in spite of the constitutional assurances. And therefore, this is creating a lot of bitterness. This is creating hatred, suspicion, fear, etc., in the minds of two major communities in India, which is the main cause of unrest. What we believe is that Pakistan could, Imran Khan's, as far as Imran Khan's administration is concerned, we have heard that Imran in his heart also believes that the relationship between India and Pakistan should improve. But one does not know from where to start. Who should take the first step and in which direction, so that we can have better living, better understanding between the two neighbors. That is all that we are wishing.
So Menon Saab, what different we are trying to do this time around, because many such initiatives have failed in past.
I think Justice Kaju would be in a position to throw more light on the issues that the
Yeah,
queries that you have been raised.
that's true. I think, thanks, Mr. Memon. I think we'll circle back to you. We want to kind of go around with all the guests. With that, I would actually, before I bring in Justice Kaju, right, since we started this dialogue, we have a perspective from Pakistan side that they are sincere, but we see Mr. Memon feels like the intention has never been sincere. I'd like to bring Mr. Shah, Muzaffar Shah from Kashmir, Mr. Shah, thanks for joining.